All right, everyone. I want to thank you all so much for hanging in there and for joining us on this, our 100th episode of Song of Rapture, right here on Lionhead Gaming. And it is Thursday, so we have everyone already gathered, ready to play and find out what Monsieur Omen has in store for us coming back. Monsieur Omen, I pass the reins over to you.
Our valiant vanguard, they had found themselves coming to the end of a vicious, divisive, and apparently magic-infused battle with, I guess, a sort of decidedly no longer rival, but enemy group within their hometown of Oakwell. But what the outcome of that fight was, what transpired during it, what even spurred this fight, is not really my story to tell, so can one of you tell me what happened on the last episode of Song of Rapture?
All right, so here's what happened. The Hell's Hydras basically attacked, invaded, slipped into our guild hall while we were out being crowned and awarded our little medals, recognizing us as dragon slayers. In the process, basically knocking out or beating up a bunch of town guards, along with Samantha's kobolds and Jody, tying them all up, taking them hostage, putting them in different parts of the guild hall, and allowing one of Samantha's kobolds, I believe Thrinnaball, sneak out with a message written by Jody for the Valiant Vanguard to arrive before midnight if we wanted any hope of, any of these hostages being left alive, and if we wanted to prove how honorable we were going to show up more or less unarmed and willing to negotiate or at least surrender, allowing Mordred Kane, the leader of the Hell's Hydras, to dictate the terms of the Valiant Vanguard's, it seemed, disillusionment. The Valiant Vanguard were not too pleased with the information that they found out, the situation at hand, and got together in the Fallen Horse to plan what it was they were going to do about it. After sort of hashing out and utilizing some magic and magical items to get some good vantage points, scouting out to the guild hall, along with calling on the excellent use of familiars, including lunas, which could pass through walls, they were able to get a lot of tactical information, figure out where the hostages were being kept, what the overall enemy strength looked like, and actually formulate somewhat of a plan. And in doing so, they had Swift Hollow and Tamar Khan sort of lead the charge in a way, them sneaking over the walls and synchronizing their efforts to take out the watch guards on the towers and the wall sections on the exterior of the guild hall. And at the same time, the rest of the Valiant Vanguard, now utilizing a bit of deception, a bit of Feywild trickery on the thanks of Persephone, summoning up a dryad and disguising her in the likeness of Swift Hollow, made their approach, hedging their bets that Tamar Khan was going to be the missing member of their group, the one that was called out as not really being a part of that group, thanks to the cleverness of Jody, framing him as a bit of a clown, not really an actual member. So the five of them were able to make their entrance, surrendering a decent spread of their gear and weapons, Quildor parting with his magical blade, but maintaining his armor, maintaining his prestige as a knight, and not wanting really to have to change into his skivvies, along with a few others choosing to go unarmored and without shielding. Samantha choosing to try to hide her armor beneath illusionary magic, not willing to take that risk. Whilst Swift Hollow and Tamar Khan were going through, timing their mostly non-lethal assassinations and knockouts throughout the throughout
I don't know
the
if we
guild hall.
hit mostly.
Mostly?
I don't think.
What do you mean mostly?
Mostly implies majority.
One tried, one didn't.
Yeah, 50-50, whatever.
50-50 effort. I don't think it shook down that way.
I mean, you can tell the recap.
Now go ahead.
Okay then. So with them going about the guild hall, with information that I don't really know yet. I haven't really been out there. I haven't even seen what's happened. Samantha and with some of the panache of Luna and a bit of the insight and wisdom of Persephone, kept Mordred Kane talking, kept him spinning his wheels and trying to just pull out and let him make his case, so to speak. Samantha could tell that he was a man driven by some purpose, and she wanted to know what, and also give as much time as she could to Swift Hollow and Tamar Khan. Thankfully, to the very useful magic of Luna, we were able to communicate telepathically across great distances, though only within this little guild hall. So keeping us updated, we were able to distract him and converse long enough until Mordred Kane basically had enough of spinning his wheels, had enough of making his declarations and expressing his thirst for power, and demanded that the Valiant Vanguard be no more. The name come to an end, and its members folded in to Hell's Hydras. Samantha, realizing that she was more or less out of cards to play, and Tamar and Swift Hollow had made great progress, decided to try to milk every last second she could to get them a bit more time by deciding to join the Hell's Hydras, or make a show of it anyway, taking her magical drink and asking to give Jody a final glass, as it were, as Mordred Kane demanded that she show loyalty by killing her old employer. Taking Quildor's magical sword in hand, she called out to the Valiant Vanguard over the telepathic link, letting them know that the what is it? The jig was up.
Jig!
And to begin their actual assault, the open engagement between the Vanguard and the Hell's Hydras, feigning cutting off Jody's head, leaving his Quildor sword in the stage instead, and utilizing Dimension Door to get both herself and Jody safely out of the guild hall, where combat quickly broke out as Swift Hollow and Tamar Khan mapped up the last few rooms that they could get to before a cacophonous explosion rocked through the guild hall, and combat began in full swing. Lots of magic, great evasive and tricky sort of I'm not talking in character. Tricky tanking from Tamar Khan, and some excellent use of strange new abilities from Luna. Quildor trying his absolute best to provide the martial support that he is so wonderfully famous for. Persephone doing her absolute best to spare life where she could and save the hostages that were not rescued yet, and Swift Hollow, soft of foot and very unfrequently sighted, taking out guards here and there where she could as well, before in short order the Hell's Hydra's heads were being lopped off one by one, and they were not coming back save for the ones that Samantha sort of brought to her own side, reincarnating with a bit of magic on her own, showing Mordred Kane what real power looks like as they swarmed around him and his final forces, his one sort of spell-casting ally, some servant of a great matron, seeming to try to call on a blessing from her and failing, thanks again to Samantha, being put down as he tried to escape thanks to Swift Hollow's excellent positioning. With only one head left, Samantha concentrated all of her magic on it and turned Mordred Kane to stone. There are a few members of the Hell's Hydra, some bewitched, some unconscious, some seemingly just emaciated after having their magical items removed. They're still breathing and not in chains for now. there are quite a number that are just dead. This was not a night that was going to end without bloodshed. It seems too much was at stake, and emotions seem to be running quite high. As we also got some wonderful boons as well that we'll hopefully be able to showcase for you maybe throughout this session or upcoming sessions. As that is basically everything I can remember.
Well done, Jordan. Give yourself some Dame inspiration and roll yourself a D100 for quite a comprehensive retelling of the last, I want to say, 4, almost 5 sessions.
With no script or writing.
How about that?
I hated it.
D&D, baby. It's a game where you build improv and saying stuff off the cuff. Good shit.
Awful. Thank you.
Oof.
I'm
only here to read my fanfic. I don't know about you guys.
Oh my god.
What plot's going on doesn't
I found
matter.
an amazing slash fic between Tamar Khan and Quildor, and it was amazing. It was.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a curse.
No, thank
Sim-
you, baby.
Then Picard walked in, and we were like, "Oh, now the party's starting."
As indeed we rejoin the Valiant Vanguard at the end of their battle in a now both ransacked and battle-damaged guild hall. The fires of battle, and I guess almost metaphorically, the fires of this great divisive wall that spread to the middle of the guild hall have finally faded. A calm has returned to the town of Oakwell, save for this sort of thunderous sound of what seems to be, from your perspective through the walls, almost sounds like a large party with the thunderous steps of some great behemoth walking between them, seemingly to keep the night alive, as we will return to a damaged, but I guess in this case, still somewhat lively with your presence, Guildhall. As you see before you laying on his back, hand now freed of his weapon, sort of cast at his side, clanging off the ground, is this completely petrified man who once harried the Valiant Vanguard. Mordred Kane lays on his back, turned to stone. A small fire dancer spinning around next to Samantha, as well as Mordred Kane, assuming it's dispersing, as well as some beaten and unconscious individuals wearing armor strewn across the hall.
Yeah, make yourself useful, would you? Can you put him on the stage?
Sure. Maybe a bit of time left. Reach down and snap him up. Still pretty probably fucking heavy.
Oh yeah. It's strangely enough, as you put your hand underneath his body and start to lift up with your massive form, he seems like immensely denser than before. You've picked up rocks in a larger form or like big chunks of furniture.
I don't think
He is just solid. But with an apparently, I guess, while also on the table, sort of stepping down, this large, muscular man who has become your ally, quickly identified as being Luna, sort of helps lift him up as well. And with your combined strength, you guys are actually able to move his body around.
Hold on. Let me get to the other side here. Ah! As with only 18 seconds left, probably by the time we get him on the table, my form slowly starts to shrink back down to normal.
You putting him on the table?
Stage.
She
not
said
the-
stage.
Stage?
Not the,
Oh.
yeah, not the
Alright,
heavy
put him
not
on
the
stage.
glass.
I would love to see him put on that glass table.
Don't
Crack.
do it. It's a trap.
As his form
It
just
is.
placed up onto this form, you can see beneath his chair, like it looks like it would have been supplies he had sort of scattered. And I guess you, Samantha, being close, so you could see both. I guess you, Samantha, and Quilder would see like some of your supplies within this sort of satchel gathered close. A long, twisted serpentine rod, a great adamantine plated shield.
I grab my shield and equip
Absolutely. Oh God! Thank God!
it. Oh, I missed you.
The magnet snap
not
it into place.
vulnerable anymore.
I pull out my
You missed
scepter.
Daddy, did you? It's okay. It's okay.
What's his hand posing look like? Does he look like he was wielding a sword for a second?
The statue, it looks like he was holding onto his spear before he got knocked to the ground. And again, it was while he was unconscious, letting go of his weapon, that his form became solid. So it looks like in his current state, he looks like he can stand up, but it looks like he's sort of splaying across some sort of surface.
Yeah, so taking her scepter out of the bag, Samantha sort of whips back around, seeing Mordred Kane sort of standing up, his former spear hand open. And for the first time tonight since we received the ransom note, Persephone especially would notice quite quickly just a wicked smile spreading across Samantha's face, seeming to take great joy in seeing him in this form, before just sliding her scepter into his open spear hand. Hold on to this for me, would you? Before spinning around.
Is he dead? I would have
No,
thought the
not
orb
quite. Move out of the way, stepping over some of these unconscious bodies.
We're just gonna try and reach around this man's body and just attempt to take off this belt.
Sure. You feel at first as your hands move down, there's almost like a pull upon your action, as if something's trying to stop you. But in this moment, your mind is in full control of this form. You're not really, I guess, weirder to say is that you've dominated a creature before and sort of commanded it to move. But in this sense, you're like your magic is encapsulating and infusing a creature. You're there without actually being within him in a sense. And so whatever force would keep you from doing so is halted as you reach down and as an action. Begin to pull upon this belt, slide it open, and yeah, with an action, you could slide the whole thing off as immediately you feel your arms grow not heavier, but lighter. As you can see right next to you, Krulor and Persephone, this massive, muscular man becomes this sort of rather average, almost thin-looking human as this large bucket on top of his head sort of rattles now, his hair falling down flat, not across broad shoulders, as he seems to reveal having the physique of a very, very average man. Not the same person you were fighting as before, or fighting against before.
Huh.
That
No,
belt
no,
must have some sort of magic.
I don't know where you are, but to strip him, man, I'm all for a good bit of fun, but don't you think that's a bit invasive? Where did she go?
I'm gonna telepathically tell Spirit to go and find Bea to bring her over.
Sure.
I'm gonna start tying up these guards.
I feel like a ping of confirmation in your mind, Persephone, as I guess you can't really see that far. You're seeing confirmation.
And then I'm gonna take Samantha's staff out of Statue Mordred's hand.
Gonna
I'll
hold,
just follow after her.
gonna hold this man's arms out towards Goldor, just together. Tie me up.
Alright. So I will tie Luna up.
All right, taking some rope out of your supplies. I'm assuming you have some on you, or taking some of your surroundings.
Oh yeah,
finding
the
some
leather,
rope.
the leather chains. The
leather
handcuffs.
chains.
Yep.
As you find some from some of the general supplies around here. Find a small set of rope, maybe some shackle or something you can attach it to as well for some of the crates. And yeah, easily enough tied her up around the wrists. Thankfully, he's gotten a lot thinner looking because before you'd imagine something this simple, these muscles would probably tear right through. But able to bind his wrists together to form a pretty rudimentary bondage.
You'll see this, he feels contained. From underneath the helmet that's kind of rattling around, you just see this green light just kind of emanate from it before like the smoke comes out. It just kind of swirls around right in front of Kuldur and Tamar Khan as Luna starts taking form again. She just hops out of his body.
Oh, there you are. Wait, were you inside of him?
God, honestly, it was disgusting in there.
As this now small man starts to turn his head to and fro, looking down at his hands, just now realizing, looks like he's finally coming to in a sense, as immediately starts reaching down, lurching for something, but his shield has been stripped from his arm, his axe still skewing away from the room. He just seems to be without arms, just restrained on the spot.
I wouldn't do that if I were you. Taking the scepter from Persephone as she walks past. Fine. Always stopping my bit of fun. And
We're not monsters.
no one said that we were. Taking
it's the
out
choices that we make that decide that, not what
Oh my
people say about us.
God's Persephone.
Percy's gonna go
and collect the other guards from the bedroom to
Oh, yeah.
tie up with their friends.
Oh, the guys you've been fighting?
No, the ones that you charmed, right?
Yeah, she's they're seeing at the end of all this with the calm having fallen over the guild hall. You can see as you approach, walk into the room, dim light sort of filling the air. They immediately turn like almost scared looking until they see you. Is it all over?
Yeah, Bea and the guards will be here soon, so I appreciate all of your help, but unfortunately my magic is going to wear off, so we will have to tie your hands.
That makes sense to me. All right. Got some rope? Rope, please.
Persephone could probably just grab the rope that was being used to bind the other guards.
Absolutely.
Just repurpose it.
Just quickly enough taking some of the cut rope and retying it around their wrists. Even one of them sort of actually giving you some advice. Actually, if you tie it over and then under, give it a pull, it actually stays a lot firmer. As they'll get their
this is really
hands.
efficient.
It's quite efficient. I've tied up many people in my life. As easily enough able to restrain these men, and then seemingly still, strangely, without realizing their magic is about to fade and what exactly that entails, they follow your lead.
Samantha takes out the Enigma orb, arranging the pieces where they need to go to solve the puzzle mechanism. Opening it up. You're too dangerous for me to control. I can already feel that. You going on a rampage and sealing up the orb inside of it.
As you open up, you can see her take this small, relatively small, like golden brass-colored orb from her hand, sort of toying with it for a moment before the whole thing just seems to open up into several, so not floating, but just barely connected pieces. And holding it up towards this orb, just trying to surround it very gently, and then speaking the word, pressing and pulling upon the mechanism. You can see the whole thing sort of refold itself and encapsulate this small orb until it seems like it just barely fits the entire thing inside. And then if you were to give it a daring pull, Samantha, you would see as the object moves, there's no spot in the air tearing a hole through this sphere. It seems as if
I'm sort of cradling it from the bottom, and I let it drop in my hands to see if it goes out of the top.
Oh yeah.
And seeing it not do that, maybe feeling it bounce against the interior wall or something, but
strangely
not
enough, you feel nothing.
Oh.
As you pull down, you're expecting to feel like it's some sort of weight. You do know that with this strange object, if you were to give it like a slight shake, there might be a sensation there's something inside, but you don't feel something bouncing against the walls. It's almost like there's nothing inside there, but once you pull away the object, it's clear that you've captured this small black orb inside of this puzzle box. Well done.
Excellent. I put my master ball away and sort of take in the state of the guild hall as I start to make my way out the front door.
So she's leaving.
I'll be back. I'm just getting someone.
All right.
Out the door.
So there's sort of left some people all over the place.
I'm
So to
rounding
say-
them up.
We should probably tie them up.
How many of them are alive?
If I remember correctly, maybe 8 or so. I can't exactly remember. Not a lot of them made it. We had to be a little bit quicker than expected.
As Swift Hollow drags this body.
Dragon,
this
your
body.
little friend. Where you going? Up. Oh god, scroll over the place. Where you at, Bubby?
But sure, I'll go help try to round them up, I guess. Or do we want to just leave that to the guards? I assume Bear's going to probably bring in a whole bunch of people to secure it all.
Might be better if we go and do it, just to make sure none of them wake up and attack the guards as they try to restrain them.
Understood.
So go about the guild hall, tying people up, hoisting them up on the shoulder, bringing them back into this room.
All right. And so tall, are you moving bodies?
Swift Hollow is moving the dead bodies over to this conveniently placed giant bonfire.
Oh boy. Okay. And Tamarcon, you helping to move bodies around, or moving not bodies, but unconscious people?
Hello, gents, if you would not mind, everything is safe now. If you could give me a helping hand, try to bring
those guys here.
more lively individuals back into the hall to be arrested.
Yep,
So
as these
Thal
men
just
have
starts piling dead bodies after stripping them of their armor, of course.
Of course. So, with
Yeah,
some of the
armor
help
doesn't
of the
burn well.
guards, it doesn't burn super well. As these men have been unrestrained for quite some time, getting their bearings, and even the kobolds to a certain degree trying to do their best to help, you would have, after maybe about 10 or so minutes, found all the unconscious people, carefully restrained them, removed them of, I'm assuming, most of their armor till what's left doesn't really provide much protection if they were to break out of restraints and start attacking people, as well as just sort of maybe kicking the weapons aside or collecting them. Thankfully, with all these guards now helping you, it doesn't take too long at all, as well as Swift Hollow moving most of these corpses away into what seems to be a now building pile of burning smoke that smells quite rancid and horrible.
Are we
So
burning all the
Thal
people?
starts cleaning.
What kind of cleaning?
What?
What kind of cleaning are you
I
doing?
guess we're burning all the corpses.
When you're
Cleaning.
like cleaning or like cleaning, like how
Oh,
a
no,
hunter
like-
cleans or
You're
how
gonna
a
end up
maid
with
cleans.
burnt- You're gonna end up with just burnt, like,
I mean, to be
Bodies.
honest, it's both. Let's be real here.
Oh
because
Jesus, okay.
it's like a campfire. It's not an incinerator.
Wait, you just skinning them? So you're just like cutting them up, getting some steaks.
Eating
No,
the gander
You're
pouch?
just dumping the dead bodies.
Okay.
You can just
Are you stripping
Pile
them
them-
before you dump them in full armor?
Yes,
yeah.
of course. I
You
told
said you
them.
were stripping
I said
them.
this. I taking their
But you,
armor off.
you don't need to burn them.
I don't. Swithal doesn't know that. It's too late. She's already throwing bodies.
Yeah, is anyone gonna tell her? Cause I'm not over there.
I was
so-
Because,
busy tying
let's
up the
see.
guards.
I mean, if it's
Hey,
over the
Thal is
telepathic
burning bodies.
bond,
What are you doing?
yeah, like if you just like, hey, like, you know, bring me more bodies so I can keep burning them, I would just be like, stop burning the bodies, Swift Hollow. You don't need to do that.
Why?
I
So-
want to burn!
We can turn them over to the grave diggers.
We also might need to identify some of them. Some of them might, I believe some
They
of
might
them
have
are
family.
here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This organization was a part of this place, even if it's destroyed now. We're not trying to hide the fact that
Swithal
we
just
killed a
waves
bunch
her
of them.
hand. They ran off.
No, that's lying.
Look, I don't want to hear this
It's better
shrill
than the
voice.
truth.
No, it isn't, and I don't want to hear this shrill voice make a case for it either. Put out the fire and bring them back to the main hall.
But why?
Or the outside, either or, I don't really care.
That's what Hollow brings. Swithal just shrugs, shakes her head, and then brings the the charred corpses. Except one.
They probably wouldn't be charred by now. They'd probably be like a little smoky.
Yeah, like bodies take a
How
long
are
time
you?
to
How are
burn
you
on a
pulling?
small fire.
How are you pulling out a corpse that was on fire at one point?
You put it out.
Slowly.
I'm sure I'm stamped it out.
Yeah, there's like some loose dirt right here. You just grab some dirt, throw it on them.
Yeah.
I
You'd
don't
probably
know,
find
like
that
it-
after you throw most of these closest ones in the fire, most of them have already been like, I mean, I'm not cooked, but definitely been seared, except for maybe just the dog, who seems to be strangely, completely untouched by the flames.
Oh, Swithal kicks out the dog.
Kicks at the dog. Cool.
That
So
doesn't
you're
work.
so putting out the fire, I'm assuming now. Canceling the cooking body thing. Samantha, what are you up to?
Heading down to the tower where I last saw her, looking for Jody.
Oh yeah. Good stuff. As you're making your way, you just,
Reburning the body.
you just find the door slightly ajar, and as you approach, coming out from the darkness, you see the door opens to actually greet you, as you'd see Jody, now finally free from her restraints on her arms. Actually pulls forward and, strangely enough, sort of uncharacteristic of Jody, reaches out and just gives you a sudden and just firm embrace.
Samantha returns it in kind. Half, almost it seemed inclined to do that, but was worried about Jody's response. So feeling her hug her, Samantha hugs her back. I hope I didn't scare you.
To be honest, this entire night has been scaring me. Is everyone else okay? Your face is telling me they're okay.
Everyone is fine. Sort of just looking at her with, oddly enough, I guess sort of in the same way a mom would like look at like a scared child. Just like, everything is fine. I've taken care of it. There's nothing to worry about.
Thank the gods. The hostages, they're okay too. Yes, the gods,
I believe every hostage is accounted for. We didn't lose any hostages, did we? Just sort of putting my fingers to the side of my head and asking over the telepathic network.
So we were not supposed to burn the hostages. Oh,
Well,
well,
gods to my con, I will skin you alive.
They are
no, I
fine.
think they're
They're
alright.
okay. I made sure of it.
I haven't checked up on your kobold friends, but I think they were fine the last time we saw them.
Every hostage is accounted for, it seems, under the caring hands of Persephone and our clown. Oh, ingenious of you, Jody, I must admit.
it was a gamble, but something that little elf girl said. She mentioned being able to see across vast distances, and well, if I could get word of danger out there, if I could sow some sort of seed, a lead you could use, I figured you'd learn about it. Although it did take repeating the same thing over and over for quite some time to ensure that hopefully you'd get the message.
Now, I have to warn you, things are a lot messier than you last saw them, and try not to be too surprised at what you see. Sort of turning back over my shoulder in sort of a cheery, sort of saccharine smile, and just swinging open the doors.
I am certain what's inside. Oh my god. Oh my god. Did they do that to him? As she's pointing to this body that's been literally torn to pieces, with hands resting on the limbs, holding onto him by the hands and feet of their ally. It looks like this guy got torn apart by his own friends.
We are heroes!
You don't fuck with my things, Jody.
That is terrifying, but I will heed that for the rest of my life. And she just kind of keeps her eyes on the thing, unable to look away until she follows you back inside to the guild hall, where it looks like most of these unconscious individuals have been carefully and certainly gathered. Some of them unconscious, some of them either willfully or unwillfully bound and taken towards the rest of these, put this guy out the way, the rest of their allies. It looks like in total you have captured about, let's see, how many we got left? Oh, mama. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that really everyone? Okay. All right. Someone go way up to the tower and dragging this guy out of this tower. 9.
That includes all the ones that were knocked out by Tamar Khan.
Yep. Going through each one that had big old X on them, they're dead. The ones that didn't have X on them were conscious.
Oh, God. So it's
Tell
not a
that one.
lot.
So tall I got to go on before I could.
Where's that peculiar fellow with the stupid mask? I don't
Oh,
see
he's just
him.
in the mask?
Smith Hollow's burning him.
Oh, he.
That is
I
the
remember-
one body she refuses to not let burn. Not burn.
Is burning some bodies, or maybe.
You're still burning people, Swift Hollow.
Oh, you know Swift.
He
Oh,
just gives
she's
you like a raised eyebrow.
I'll talk to her,
Not
Samantha.
letting
It's
them
okay.
exhume that body, we can turn over the other ones to the gravedigger.
To be honest, I'm quite surprised you all kept so many alive. So you've done quite a good job at this. Though, I wonder if Bear has enough cell room for all these individuals. And oh my god! And she just immediately catches the eye, sort of looking past some of the unconscious and bound individuals, till she gets to the stage itself and seeing that that man who was accosting her before now completely turned to stone. Even his clothing having been changed from metal and cloth to hardened rock. How on earth did this happen?
Magic.
Right. That's what are y'all doing outside?
Seeing
Catching
Swift
up to
Hollow
Swift
standing in
Hollow.
front of a fire with a body on top of it. Prestidigitation, I put out the fire.
Flames roil
Why?
up, almost coil on themselves before vanishing, leaving this sort of sizzling corpse on top.
What were we just saying about the bodies?
I'm not going to let them exhume that one.
That's the one I'm
Can I
most
ask why?
interested in.
What makes this one particularly exempt for you?
Hmm. As Swithologist goes over and cuts off his head.
With your knife?
Yeah, basically.
You can talk to us, Swift Hollow. You don't.
Whatever forces he's working with most likely has access to resurrection magic. He's a spellcaster, and is probably in leagues with such. Again, I will not let them exhume this body.
They do not need to exhume it, but information needs to be gathered, as Samantha holds out a hand.
The head?
Indeed.
What's the opposite of exhume?
Resume.
Bury, I guess.
Yeah, Barry.
What?
Or
Exhume
actually,
is
I guess like
digging something up.
The most like rhymey thematic opposite would be entomb.
There you go. Yeah, that's
I
what we're
like
looking
it.
for.
I like it.
What do you mean entomb? No, she really means like stopping these people from digging up his dead body.
Yeah, but they're asking what would the opposite of that be?
Yeah,
Oh,
would be entombing him.
I don't know, to dig. Put to rest.
And she holds out her hand.
Yes, the head. I happen to have a very talented girlfriend who might be interested in aiding me.
Gives it to you.
Thank you very much. She just sort of
The
takes
rest
it.
of the body gets disposed of.
She almost puts it in the wrong bag. Did he have any paperwork or anything on him? It's probably charred now, but
I mean, at most that I saw, he liked black feathers.
He kept referring to some sort of matron or patron or something. I could not quite make it out, but I had a very unsettling feeling about it. Have you already
was
searched
that?
him, Swift Hollow?
His body is naked.
Did you find any signifiers on him of what group he might have been a part of?
He didn't seem to
She's
be a
wearing
part of
his
the Hell's
cloak.
Hydras.
Anything else?
Or you're like
Do
literally
you know
wearing the
anything
cloak he was
about
wearing?
him, Swift Hollow?
Are you also wearing his
How would you
mask?
assume that? Yeah, she is. Obviously wearing his mask.
Why would you say
What? No.
that?
You're literally dressed as him?
Persephone,
I'm not assuming anything, I'm just asking.
I deal with the forces of death. You don't think I know how to circumvent them? Or at least, making sure my targets stay dead.
Okay, fair enough. Do you know anything about him?
No. Personally? No. Although the raven feather motif gives some signatories.
That's what I was afraid of.
Me
Why?
as well.
Oh, billion insight girl.
I just got to make sure I know this thing before I start saying things I don't actually know.
As Persephone steps into her mind library. Coulda, what are you doing at the window?
I'm just sticking my head out, trying to figure out what's taking them like 5-10 minutes outside.
You just see a
It's been like
smoking
3.
bonfire with their 3 allies standing around it and like a head being passed between them.
Hey, when we talk for 15 minutes, it's usually an hour in game. So right, like I mean, you know.
It's been like 4 minutes.
How's that body coming along? Getting hungry.
I smell
Open
steak.
roasted.
We're gonna take the helmet off of the guy and just grab his face and turn it towards her. Can you speak?
As you sort of slide the helmet up and off this guy's head again, you watch all this matted hair slide up before mopping down. As you see the face and head of a man whose head hasn't probably seen the sun or any sort of sharpened edge of a razor for quite some time. His eyes are sunk into these deep sockets, his brow thick and furrowed, and his beard hanging over what really you could try to see a mouth. But as he opens up to speak, it opens not level like a mouth should. It opens at a harsh slant. As you can see, his jaw has been harshly twisted and broken as he sort of coughs out. As you only really felt it slightly when you were in this person's body. Probably part of the reason why it was so disgusting feeling. This man's jaw has been harshly broken. Like it looks like if someone had just shattered it with like a hammer or like I don't know, something like a boulder, and this broke one entire half of the right side, causing it to sort of concave in and sort of disrupt his ability to speak. But he just sort of grunt at you.
Looks like something nasty. I could try to help him with that, but I don't know if it will do much good.
Look at that.
Who did this to you? Was it him? Blink once for yes, twice for no, as I point to Mortar King. Effectively, not talk. Blink.
Put the helmet back on.
Knock him in the head.
He seems very disgruntled, I'd say, with your passive insight.
He's a handsome lad.
Okay, I'm going to try not to get ahead of myself here. So I'm just going to start with a simple question. So, Aftala, do you know of a group called Atlas Black?
No. Why?
Well, we've heard of them some time ago, and I do know that they worship the Raven Queen. So I'm just trying to see if there are pieces that can be put together.
He definitely seemed to have some affiliation with that goddess.
I don't think he was with Atlas Black. I've heard the rumors and I've heard the tales.
So you are familiar with them?
By name.
Do you have any idea who he is affiliated with then?
No.
Don't. Fortunate. But you
The
know
goddess,
that his
by association,
allies could
has
resurrect him.
some implication. I am aware of our pantheon.
What, you think the Raven Queen herself is going to descend to bring this? She just sort of kicks it in the shoulder back to life.
No. But the others that act in her will might.
Just a random priest or cleric.
Nathala shrugs. If he was working with Mordred, he had to have a reason to.
Yeah. That's why I was trying to see if maybe he was part of Atlas Black. It would mean Mordred was connected to something much bigger than the Hell's Hydras.
I still think that is the case. I don't think he was a lone rogue agent. Just some random worshipper of the Raven Queen.
You know what? Maybe my new friends can tell us something. Maybe they know.
This person's gonna turn around and go talk to my friends before they're not my friends anymore.
Hey. As yeah, make your way back inside. What are the rest of y'all doing?
We're taking a selfie. Read the chat.
Where's the pearl? Where's the pearl?
Taking the selfie.
Giving,
It's great.
giving Stone Mordred a little kiss on the cheek.
Yeah, after determining that you can't really talk to the Ravager because he's broken inside and out.
Oh.
Sitting around waiting for them to stop having an existential crisis and come back.
The smell of burning flesh wafts into the room as a door is opened, and down the hallway you see your three allies making, or I guess two of your allies making the way back inside. In Persephone, you'd find you're still considered friends to be standing there, sort of quiet, not really sure what to do with themselves, hands still bound to the sides, until you approach, and immediately, almost like unnaturally in this moment, they smile and kind of like wave you over. Hey, hello, you're back.
Yeah, as Persephone's gonna hop up on the table and just sit on the edge of it in front of them, her legs swinging. Can you tell me anything about the guy with the bird cloak?
What? Oh, the Invoker.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we didn't know much about him. We heard Mordred call him Sidrus once. We think that was his name. He was an elf or something. Really liked some lady. I think he kept calling her mother or matron. Had a lot of feathers going on. Knew a lot of really powerful magic, but couldn't really use all of it at once. Kind of hurt his body to use it or something. Probably result of magic. I don't understand it. Do you know anything about him?
That name? Would I recognize that name at all? Like maybe an elven?
It definitely sounds like an elven name, but I guess the closest thing you probably hear with your own understanding and age, a connection to the old and the new nations, is that it sounds like we'd consider to be an Illyrian name, something from the far eastern side, or western side rather, of Hearth.
I think he might have been a Illyrian.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And if that is his Illyrian name, we might be able to trace his family line back.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It's fantastic news. Thank you.
No problem. I don't really know why he was with us. He didn't really accept pay or anything. He was just... What do you always think he always said? He said he was there to watch.
Watch.
Yep. Really was really interested in Mordred Kane. Said he was going to do something great and was eager to see him do it. I don't know, talked in weird mystery riddle words. We just kind of let him do his thing.
Either a supervisor or a possible recruiter.
I mean,
All right,
Mordred
Scout.
invited him, so I think he was just there to watch for his own sake, or maybe his mama.
I guess if he was really a patron of the Raven Queen, it would make sense. Mordred King did come back from the dead in strange circumstances. Maybe they were just...
Yeah.
So is he dead? Is that why he's standing up?
What, Kane?
Yeah. He's not doing anything when that thing is
No.
kissing him.
No, Samantha Day has turned him to stone.
Ah, okay, more magic, gotcha. Just thought I'd ask.
But if he's
Yes.
not dead, then what is he? Like he's stone. I see that, but what does that mean?
Sort of
It
just
means he was
grab
stone.
this sort of like emaciated or much lighter man, sort of tied up, and just pull him by his bindings. Moving him sort of brutishly out of the way and just sitting up against the wall.
Persephone, ask them if they know anything about that weird man. Shit, oh, okay.
Which one? There's a lot. There's a lot of men involved in this group.
That one.
What about him? What can you tell me about him?
Oh, that's Mordred called him Ravager, but that's Ulfir. if you're in Crossway, you'd remember him as Iron Fist Ulf. But I guess a lot of people now know him. I guess call him Deadman Ulf. He's a pit fighter. He was a big old champion for quite some time in the Den of Fists, but lost to the champion, the new guy. They call him like they call him Hank.
The hunk?
That sounds more right. Yeah, beat him almost to death, but I think I guess he didn't quite beat him fully to death. So to survive that, don't really know how, but
How do you become part of the Hills Hydras?
like a lot of us, he just washed up at Oakwell looking for money, looking for a job. A lot of people you find here in Hell's Hydras, at least the ones who are still alive. Well, there's more out there, it's fine. The rest of Hell's Hydras are... We weren't really the cream of the crop when, before all this started.
Persephone, ask him where the other ones are.
Okay, I was gonna talk about my story.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Yes, yeah, you interrupted my friend.
Well, I believe your magic will be fading shortly, and if there's more of these people out there, we can't have them murdering other people.
That's a fair point. Are there more members of Hell's Hydras still around Oakwell, or was this it?
Oh, yeah, I think it's about 60 in total that made up the whole group. I think Mordred said he was gonna have the rest of them surround the guild hall once problems would transpire, but I don't really hear it. I hear there's a party going on outside. I don't hear anything of that.
That reminds me, are we done here or
Could you maybe clean up the mess up front before Bea gets here? With some more guards? It's kind of horrific looking.
I'm looking at Tamarkan, who seems eager to leave.
Oh, you want me to clean up the mangled corpse? Of course! I would love to!
Yeah.
Clean up the mangled corpse.
Bother
I
yourself
don't
with it,
believe
Tamar.
you, but the sooner you get it cleaned up, the sooner you can go have fun.
Alright, mangled corpse, here I come. Oh, yes, you are. You're a mess, my friend.
Tamar, it's fine. I'll take care of it.
Alright.
Just fucking imagine Tamarkon, like, shoving the body parts in these
I
suits.
pick up a severed arm. Like,
Just shoving it to the statue.
okay, it's like throw it across the room.
Just like putting it underneath, like just taking the pile, like shoving it under a rug. Just big
Yeah,
ass
just
mouth.
fill one of the suits of armor here with
Like
the body.
totally how a
Fine.
kid would clean a room.
There's 60 some other Hell's Hydras running around. I don't think they're really
Well,
going
we
to
were
be
like
doing
a
much.
third of them. I didn't mean to correct your math there. I used to be a mathematician before all this started. Turns out people don't want to learn math in Oakwell, so I kind of found myself on hard times. And yeah, so I found myself being a thug. I guess I'm part of the Valiant Vanguard now? Is this what's happening?
No.
I mean, well,
Oh, rats.
I mean, you joined because you needed money, right? You couldn't find any other work. How come? If you're skilled enough to be an adventurer.
Well, I was a mathematician at first. Thank you for listening, Tamarkon.
Mhm.
But before that, we didn't really have anyone. We weren't really fully trained. It was actually when Hell's Hydra was formed that Mordred began to sort of instruct us. He had experience with all this whole guard business. He was military for a while. He's a captain apparently, so you know he was quite eager to train some able-bodied men, and we were able-bodied men. Or some of us were very astute in mathematics.
Well, since you have been so helpful, depending on how you act after Persephone's magic wears off, maybe we could put in a good word for you too.
It could be just like with Benny.
Or
Oh,
we
yeah.
have to
Half
do that
ogre.
thing.
Oh, that thing's still in
Benny.
jail.
He said he's what?
That thing's still in jail, yeah. Bea's still got him in jail. People talk about him sometimes. He's the biggest prisoner they have. I guess he's an inmate, whatever you call him. I don't know. I'm not a linguist. That's Terrence over here.
Well, yeah, we could
Linguist and
probably put it.
mathematician.
Not a lot of schooling
Right?
here at Oakwell.
We could pretty
No,
much
I
start
know.
a school for the children here.
All teachers turn into
yes.
crime, apparently.
Don't get your
Interesting.
education degree,
An
kids!
adventuring game, World of Adventuring is the highest paying job, yeah. Who wants to learn about fucking grammar? You can go kill a
Got my
fucking
fine arts
goblin.
degree. Started robbing people.
The rest of the Hellsiders, all artists.
Yeah, man, fucking student loan debt. Student loan debt makes you do some crazy shit.
Good.
What can you tell us about that guy?
I point over to the hooded figure.
That's Mondra called him scoundrel, but that's Adolfo. Devu, fancy name from up north in Brokenridge. He was a guard too up there for a while, but he got dishonorably discharged. He kind of has a knack for getting his hands into places where they don't belong.
Just kind of look over towards Swift Hollow.
Men äter bajonett.
Oh, you mean stealing? God, my mind went somewhere different.
Well, Adolfo has a certain panache to him. I wouldn't hold it above him.
Do you recognize that name at all, Swift Hollow?
I think Sweetheart is passed out. She might be succumbing to her wounds.
Hmm.
I'm dying, help me.
That's what happens, man. You got human flesh in your nostrils and sinuses. So we don't burn bodies.
Is that all you wanted to know? I mean, I could tell you about Clarence up there. I don't.
That's feather-coated man, some sort of magic caster. I believe you called him. Would you call him?
Citrus.
Yes. Do you remember when he showed up?
Well, most of us were at the start. I mean, I'm a local in Oakwell. He sort of. I don't remember when he started, actually. He was just sort of there one day. Mordred was out of town. I think he was with what he called his more esteemed followers out tackling some. I think it was an owlbear problem or something out in the Elder Bark. And when he returned, he said he found a new follower. He just sort of was there. Didn't tell us how they met, didn't tell us the details of what made him bring him along. I'm assuming the magic. But here he was.
But he met him in the Elder Bark. It's due west of here, right?
West. If he came
And his
from
name is
Illyria.
Illyrian? Excellent. That's a good lead to start with. If I remember correctly, your culture doesn't have last names, right, Persephone?
Not typically unless they're half-elven. But you can track their family lineage because the elven names are usually derived from that of the parents.
Did you only know him by the one name?
It was Sidrus or it was Invoker.
Which is the nickname?
Any temples or worshipping places of the Raven Queen to your knowledge, Persephone, out west?
Elves are mostly fond of Ioun.
Always sticking your noses where they don't belong. I'll make a note of it then.
Speaking of which, Samantha, do you just have the head in your hand?
No, I almost stuck it in Chomps, but then I stuck it in my
Juggling it.
bag of holding. As oddly enough, Samantha sort of slips past her chair, and it just sort of looks like she like sort of leans in to try to kiss you on the cheek, but actually whispers to you, Luna, "I need to speak with you in private."
Give us a moment, as I will follow Samantha real quick.
Take all the time that you need.
Feel free to continue gathering information. You never know what they might know. And where the hell is Bea? Didn't you send for her?
Yeah, I sent Spirit to go get her, but maybe she doesn't realize, or maybe she's bringing backup, or maybe the party is distracting her. Oh gods, I hope Spirit knows what Bea looks like. She's seen her by now.
Hey,
I don't know.
God.
Mm-hmm.
Have I been able to, like, talk to Chomps in my just traveling? Like, has there been any sort of indication at all that it recognizes speech? Not that it communicates, but just that it responds to noise like that?
Not at all.
Okay.
It seems to know when you open it up, as you'll keep it open and you start to pull something out. It does seem to sort of react when you get something like just near the opening of the mouth. More like how like some mindless animal would, as opposed to a sentient being.
Yeah, to sort of put it down, seeing this guy sort of grabbed onto and ripped onto at the end of the table, sitting on top of it. I just put Chomps down on the floor and flip him open on the floor in front of him and just start slowly but surely shoveling bits of this guy into Chomps.
All right,
Just
bit
pulling
by
off.
bit.
Is this the first time we're seeing some shit like this?
Probably in public, yeah.
Technically speaking, Chomps is on the floor underneath the gigantic
Yeah,
black
but
table.
I'm pretty sure a
I'm an
giant
elf.
bag chews very loudly.
Oh yeah, you can hear it. You just wouldn't see the gigantic maw of a bag eating this dude.
Oh, she's eating him. That's interesting.
It's cool. They're just kind of ducks down and looks underneath the table.
I cast darkness on the bag.
Samantha, what did you do?
Surprise?
Oh, so
If
we
it wasn't
didn't want to
Samantha.
burn the
What's
body,
that horrible sound?
did we?
Don't worry about it. It's a cleaning device.
Tell me
Magical.
more about being
But-
a mathematician and a linguist.
Yeah,
Oh,
while,
thank God,
well-
someone finally asked me. Nobody asked me about this.
yeah, while
exactly.
Persephone
Well,
is
How many languages
I'm
do you
from
know?
Illyria, so non-adventuring stuff is very interesting to me.
Strangely enough, I only know 2 languages. I only study language.
Wait, so can you read it or like?
Oh,
Well,
heaven,
actually,
no,
I'm-
no.
As they start to go into the various details about
Yes,
how they lost
I
their
try to
possessions.
distract them with friendly conversation and being friendly, and friendship is magic.
Look at me, don't look at the bag, look at me.
yeah, while
Alright, so
Chomps eats loudly, using his.
So why didn't we
voracious
want to
eating.
burn the bodies?
Decisions with Paulo, you're going to have to ask Samantha.
No, I'm just curious now.
I think maybe burnt flesh does carry quite a ways.
The
You need
party
a lot of
Fodor.
wood for it too.
I just thought they were like Oakwell people, and we wanted to, bury them and
That's
those things.
That's the other
Are
reason.
all of these people, ask your friends, Persephone, if all of these other people are from Oakwell.
yes, everyone from Oakwell.
I mean,
So
a lot of them are,
particular
but there's enough. Chunk of them are also just from all over Mobia. We got a few outsiders from far edge of Dracova, but that's mostly up in Broken Ridge. Most of it's just Mobian, and Oakwell's kind of, we're just kind of the bottom of the barrel in Oakwell.
Before Samantha pushes the head off the body, but it lifted up. What about this guy? Is he from Oakwell?
But I had to get closer to think. I'm just gonna assume, yeah, that's horrible. Is this a game? Are we playing a game right now?
Just
Are we
laughing at the.
I'm strangely okay with it. I don't know why I'm so okay with it,
I
but
can conjure pixies and we can play a game. Actually, do I have magic for pixies? I might not.
I dropped the head in the bag.
Garbage disposal
Okay.
continues to whir, and trying to take advantage of the noise while Persephone's trying to distract them, and this thing is chomping away. Luna, I have the head of that Sidrus man. I don't know if you can, but I'm hoping. Can you talk to the dead?
If he's around in spirit form, sure, but I can't do anything with the head.
Damn. Would the head help you contact his spirit?
I don't know, God, what the hell head helped me contact other planes to find his spirit?
I mean, having the corpse, just sort of having the corpse, what you would really need is an actual anchor for its soul. Like if you had something that was like if a creature bound itself to like a crystal, and you had that crystal and it's spirit passed on. You go up to contact that, but a body's just a body. There's magic specifically to conjure and pull the spirit to a body to communicate with it. If you don't have that magic, it doesn't quite work that way.
No, the head doesn't really do much for me. I could try and contact him, but as he saw before, it's a gamble.
Yeah, don't want you losing yourself on a gamble. Oh well, maybe one of the incantation can help. She just grabs like a leg and shovels it off the table.
Are you going to keep the head?
The head? Yes.
Do you have a way to keep it from rotting?
No, not really.
Oh wait, never mind. I lied. I have a way to keep it from rotting.
No, you do. See?
Yeah, it takes a bit, but I'll be able to keep it from decomposing, though it's still somewhat morbid, but we'll just not show the rest of them.
I appreciate it, Luna. I have a feeling this individual is connected to some organization or just a devout follower of the Raven Queen, and I have to wonder if that faction or her have a part to play in all of this. Things are getting weird.
Would that make a lot of sense? Isn't the Raven Queen just all about death and not really dying, but like keeping the dead?
I have a running theory, trying to figure out what it is Mordred, or who it is Mordred was working for. I don't know if he was hearing voices through that weird orb or whatever, but the fact that he knew of the others and that there are others is disconcerting, to say the least. But he seemed quite frustrated with the state of the world, and with death comes change. I don't know her feelings on stagnation, but I can't imagine them to be good.
I don't know, it just seemed logical. But again, I don't know anything about the gods. I'm not religious.
It's best to keep it that way. Just shove the torso in. Finally done with this guy.
Okay. You're shoving one dude inside the bag?
Yeah, the zombies can be buried. It's fine. They're not that
Gotcha.
rotted. They're just a little gray looking.
One of them does have like exploded torso and head against the wall where you smashed him, but the rest of them can be
It was just supposed to be the head. You're the one that added the torso.
splattered against the wall.
You conjured zombies. The DM wanted to have fun with it.
That was before I conjured zombies.
It's called flavor.
As you find yourself rejoining the group, as you guys just waiting for Bay at this point, or anything else you want to do?
Are we immediately
we're-
decapitating more bodies, or cutting people into pieces, or burning them, or
Where are the
No.
hostages?
The guards are still in the bedroom.
Yeah, they've been actually scattering out throughout the guild hall. They helped you move some of the unconscious folk, now that they finally have their bearings and the like, but they're sort of just getting themselves, like, looking for their own supplies. Some of them will go back to the storage back here where the, what do you call it, the Imp of Ill Omen had found and scrounged a number of stolen weapons and armor as they're reclaiming their things. After some time, the kobolds would also begin to join you, both from the hostages room as well as from the tool shed, sort of scattering very carefully, sneaking their way back into the main room, realizing that finally the battle is over, and it seems like these guys are finally safe. But yeah, besides that, the guards seem to be finally just making their move, walking outside, and sort of, I guess, taking a bearing of things now with their supplies back in hand.
I'm going to slide across the table and investigate Swift Hollow's shoulder. Are you standing or sitting, Swift Hollow?
Is there chairs? I don't suppose there's like
Just
a stool.
stools. A lot of
right
them
next
are
to me.
like scattered, but you can easily pick one up and upright it and sit on it.
It's frozen.
Yeah.
How many people are standing on this table?
Well, no, Chris isn't standing. She's like She's sitting with like her legs
Tap
just kind of
dancing.
like tucked beneath her, and she just kind of like slides over
Right. Okay.
because
Join us
she's
in-
an adult.
Just sitting cross-legged on the table. Just balancing a fucking candelabra on his nose.
Yeah, that's what
Just
I'll
waiting for
let
somebody
you
to say something of importance.
tend to her wounds more.
Yes.
You know, Tamar, if you are so eager, you can retire for the evening if you want. I don't know if the dinner is still going to happen, but I can't imagine you'd want to be a part of such a stuffy occasion.
It'd be
No,
strange
it's
to have a dinner at midnight.
Yeah, isn't
Yeah,
it like
it's
1
after-
o'clock?
It's like past midnight at this point.
It's just
A
that
little late
there's a party
for
going
dinner.
on outside, then I
I can see the
like
eagerness
to
in your
attend,
tail.
but I assume, are we going to talk about this later, or is it something that we need to go over? Or...
I'll fill you in tomorrow. Go entertain people, clown.
Have fun.
I don't mind if I do.
It's a festival.
Samantha, do you oppose having your kobolds start cleaning in the morning?
They're not the only ones. This is going to take a bit of time and effort. I'll have to open up the coffers on this one. Why?
I mean, there's still nobility here in town. If there's a way that we could clean this in time to still showcase it, I figured you might want to show off your statue.
Speaking of the statue, are we displaying that? Because like I don't I don't particularly care about the whole, reputation thing. But if we're going to keep up that reputation, I don't think displaying the statue of a defeated foe is kosher.
It's better than mounting his head on the wall.
True, but not by much.
Can we put it somewhere that no one is going to see it?
What about that back stone building? I'm sure you could doll it up and make people think that it's some sort of statue to some sort of weird deity.
I
Only
think the
those that
people
you
know
want to
who
let
Mordred
know.
Kane is.
Yeah. I don't think we can pretend it's not him. I just don't want anybody to find out about it.
Well, if
I
you
mean-
don't want anyone to find out about it, then we better start slitting throats.
The cat was never in the bag. The Hell's Hydras attempted a hostile takeover. And that's what happened to their leader in response. Get over it. You have other things to think about.
It is a powerful statement. And to be fair, it's not like she actually killed him. There is powerful magic that I believe could bring him back. Although who would waste it on him?
Is he aware of things? I mean, he was knocked out before he turned into stone, so maybe he's like asleep.
sleeping. Yes. She sort of, as she says that, she sort of shifts her attention, her eyes glowing, looking at Persephone across the table. One by one, more and more snakes starting to look at her. And she just raises
Persephone
an
was like-
eyebrow at you.
Persephone focusing on Mordred as you say that, there's like this look of realization going across her face. And then when she notices you're looking at her, she immediately goes back to fixating on the hole in Swift Hollow's shoulder. Muttering magical words.
Trust me, if I had any intention of stopping you, I would just take his head off, Persephone. See what you can find out, won't you?
Okay, now I know my original complaint was, if it was, okay to like have him there, but also having him there is really ugly. You can like move him somewhere else.
What? He's so beautifully carved. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
but
I
The
mean,
He's
detail
not
is
carved.
almost like though.
I don't really know how we're going to carry him anywhere.
He's very heavy now.
Extremely heavy.
I look at the belt. I guess I should probably figure out what this belt does. To move it over to me and just start identifying it. Since this is the only magic item I have so far, so I'll just start identifying the belt.
Okay. And as you start using your magic, sort of coaxing it over this item, as well as Persephone whispering soft words of magic to help try and heal this wound on Swift Hollow's shoulder, watching as the flesh starts to try and mend itself, but with the sort of tearing across her upper shoulder, it seems more you're sort of creating what seems to be a shallow scar in her skin more than truly healing the damage. As we'll cut over to Timber Khan, who, after making his way out the gates, leaping up the wall, I guess it was unlock the gate from the inside and opening inside, running out towards the what sounds to be the building sounds of a thunderous and exciting party. You would be also, I guess, met with the sounds of disgruntled yelling and orders being barked, as in a generally large vicinity around the guild hall, past the great walls which hide all beyond them, you'd see lines of men, as well as those who I guess were once partly clad in armor, others now seem to be stripped of their wares, as you would see lines of guards, as well as some able-bodied men taking hold of what looks to be familiar-looking faces, more of these individuals of Hell's Hydras, these companions of sorts, wearing their chainmail and slabs of leather, who are now being held down, arms being bound in manacles. As well, you see some like an able-bodied man with a great sword, sort of like hauling one of the larger folk and putting him on his back before putting a sword up against him to keep him still. You'd see a cat dragging itself down from one of the great heights of the buildings, as well being followed, like looks like he's putting a bow across his shoulders. Strangely enough, his quiver almost devoid of arrows at this point, as it seems like lots of the men have been picked off by these weapons, as well as a silver-colored hound dragging behind towards the center of this group, one of these men by his ankle. And of course, a big old pile of what looks to be strangely unconscious or otherwise unable to move, twitching men. As sitting on top of them is a red-scaled dragonborn who seems to be sipping on what seems to be some sort of potent brew, eagerly partying. As it seems like during this time, while you guys had been fighting the Hell's Hydras within the guild hall, something had happened outside. A group of men had tried to assault the outside, and it seemed like the guards who had been positioned all around the guild hall, as well as those who had been placed within them, ex-members of the Valiant Vanguard, had done their part to incapacitate them, and seemingly doing quite a good job. And you'd see among them, as you're sort of exiting, heading towards beyond them, past this point, towards the block where the party's going, where you could see, looks to be lights and flashing and great shadows of dancing elephants, you'd be somewhat intercepted within the shadows, at least the soft street lights, of the appearance of both Lord Mayor Autumnwood, who seems to be wearing at least a breastplate of sorts, something any of you really seen armor on the mayor, as well as Bea Volk, who's now sheathing a sword. Wants to catch eyes with you. They try to get your attention to come over and run your way, realizing that hopefully one of the Valiant members made it out of the walls. As Bea first approaches, are they okay? Is it secure? Are you the one left alive? Shit, we're gonna get in there.
They're all dead. Sorry to say, I couldn't save a single one of them. They
What?
terrible fire and vines came out of the walls. Demons. They summoned demons, and I tore them apart one by one, and I ate them. It was a terrible sight. Some of them started to be raised into undead. They were
Oh my God.
swarming and clawing into each other. It was a horrible scene, but thankfully I was able to escape with my life. I'll never get it out of my mind.
As roll me a deception check.
Damn it.
Oh, I love it.
Hey!
Let's see. Do. You're in a panic state. You're in a panic state. Where are you at, girl?
Oh, poor Bea.
They just wistfully stare out into nothingness. 1,000 hours stare.
As with a deep
And
breath.
she can see my eyes sort of twitching back and forth towards her to like check her expression.
As you see, like, as you're going on, Tamarkan, you see her expression already, her scarred and twisted face, like, distorting and becoming surprised and more enamored by this slowly building, more fantastical and apparently horrible sounding story until you keep going so far and so far that her head starts to shake. And then she sees that little flit in your eyes and be like a twitch of a smile. And you just see her face become stoic, hardened, in anger.
Big
You
old
piece of
grin.
shit. And she just like brushes past you
Everyone's
and
fine. They're
motions with the
fine.
hand behind her. Men, we're heading into the guild hall. Don't listen to this fucking clown.
They
As
just sort of walk past her over to Javen and the rest of them. My friend! Seems like you had some fun out there as well.
Hell yeah.
Back the toys together, Gregory.
Yeah. It was a good accident. Accident.
I'm just gonna
I didn't touch
hang
him,
out
I swear.
there with those guys, although I'm gonna try to find a well and clean myself up with all the blood covering me.
Oh yeah. Easily enough, amidst all the commotion, there is a well on the middle of the town that you can find yourself, easily clean yourself up. As, yeah, after some time, you guys would hear the sounds of the doors being pushed open to the guild hall, and followed by a few broad-shouldered individuals, looks like men who just seen some battle, is a battle-worn Beowulf as well, who sort of pushes down the door, and I guess Persephone, with your incredibly high insight, for just a moment, you do see as she opens up the door, her eyes immediately look around the entire room as if to look for something that's not there, and then she sort of like shakes her head in disbelief. You're okay.
Yeah.
You're all okay. Oh, thank the gods. Puts her sword back in her sheath, followed by her men, as you can see is now forming out and having filled the guild hall during all this time, seem to be the other guards who, to the best of their ability, some of them still trying to put their armor back on their bodies or fixate their posture, immediately try to take a more authoritative stance, assume a salute, and before immediately sort of breaking down as she starts approaching, as it seems like she immediately recognizes their exhaustion. At ease, men, at ease. Sorry we had to put you through that. Goddamn adventurous. She steps forward, pushing past the men, goes straight up to you, Luna, and actually sort of reaches out and just puts a big, hearty hand on your shoulder and gives it a quick shake.
Do it, cast fireball. Do it.
Flint's not say anything, just like slowly, just lift her hand up to Bea's head and just slowly lift it off, and then pat her hand.
Good work out there. All of them are accounted for. Fuck. The bodies, though. I don't blame you for doing what you did to them.
We saved several of them.
You saved? Looks like it. As she immediately turns to glare at these men who kind of like sheepishly raise up a pair of bonded hands. Hi, Bea. Men, if you're able, take this lot to the watchman's post. I think we might have enough cells for them. Might have to stuff about 4 per box. The ones who are awake, carry the sleeping ones. The ones who are not sleeping, you're gonna be debriefed. No sleeping tonight. Yes.
Can you put these two with Benny?
Persephone gestures to her friends.
Benny. I might have to talk to you about that, girl. We might need to make some extra room. He takes up a whole cell by himself. As she'll motion for you and the other guards as they're now sort of taking hold of some of these unconscious men, a couple of them grabbing onto this emaciated fellow and sort of guiding him out the door as these individuals will slowly but surely be guided out of the guild hall. As she's kind of looking around the room.
And I'll point over at this one. Beware of that one. He knows his way around a lock. He knows his way out of stealth. He's most likely to try to escape.
Good advice. Men, tie his hands and his feet together. And go ahead, tie his arms together and his legs together. Tie him the fuck up. As you see the men kind of like stop, like, oh, all right. As they'll go get some of their own rope. And yeah, after maybe a minute or so, all of them just immediately, like, thoroughly hog-tie this individual, still unconscious, until they basically have to pick him up and sort of carry him like a big old basket. as they will slowly but surely make their way outside of the guild hall, leaving this place vacant for you guys to follow or otherwise linger. But she will like sort of turn back as she's leaving. The mayor would like a word with you. He'd be happy to hear that you're all alive. As he just kind of looks down and steps over one of the mutilated corpses on the ground.
Of
They may not be
course.
too happy to see what happened to these men. Nevertheless, I say good work. Pardon me, creature, as they see it looks up. As yeah, with that, you guys will be, unless you just want to linger around for any reason, you guys would be led out of the guild hall and into the night.
Did we have a short rest during all this time?
I'd say so. You had a 15-minute breather.
Okay, good, because I don't want to look all bloody.
You suck all your blood back into your body.
Suck it all back in.
Is Bea taking us to the mayor's house or just escorting us
Basically,
outside
she's
the
leading you guys out of the guild hall, which if you guys were to follow her past the gates, you'd find that, again, the city's still alive with sounds like excitement and partying. The festival is still going on, but again, surrounding the guild hall is this perimeter of guards where now, at this point, you can see a number of lines of men with hands bound, some of them carrying unconscious individuals, making their way towards the west, towards the watchman's post. And among the men, this time actually following after her, it seemed like, excuse me, and waiting at the gate as you guys exit is the mayor, Lord Autumnwood, as well as behind him now joined, it looks like a knight, sort of sheathing his own sword, Sir Boulder and Lord Arthur, who is just enjoying everything he's seeing right now. Lord Arthur Lord Logan wearing, it looks to be a suit, like not a suit, but a breastplate, like actually armed for battle with a rapier at his side, which he seems to be keeping a hand on, sort of counting the people walking out and then smiling and giving a sort of a somber nod as you exit the guild hall.
Wait, Bea, is Benny okay?
What? Yeah, he's just big. We don't got a lot of cells for all these men. We might have to find a new place for him.
And where would that new place be?
That depends. I'll need to talk to you about that, since you've been his advocator during all of this.
Persephone, the defense
Okay.
attorney.
I'll stop by tomorrow morning, then.
Law and Order, SOR.
Good to hear.
Oh yeah, as I'll just prestidigitate the shit out of my armor.
Zing,
And sword. Make everything clean and sparkle.
As you see, Lord Logan will step forward, sort of brushing off. Looks like some of the own scuffle he's maybe had gotten into during this fight, and approach you guys and sort of stop in his stance, sort of right himself for a moment. It seems like he's sort of been weighed down and exhausted before he just like raises a hand. Then Vanguard, I want to thank
Logan.
you, and truly my humblest apologies. I knew that Hell's Hydras was a disgruntled group, but they were adventurers. I did not think they would go as far as they did, especially against their own town. I was too careless in handling them, and I will take full responsibility for what has transpired tonight. I'm sorry.
Really?
Don't say that.
And here I thought I was going to be cut off to the winds.
I would never allow such a thing to happen.
In spite of the actions that were needed to rectify this situation.
Yes, as it seems. It's an unfortunate shame, but understandable considering the circumstances. As he sort of ushers out those last words, noticeably to you, Persephone, just a little resigned, as he just seems pretty somber. As for the guild hall, I will offer what I can in terms of funds to alleviate whatever damages this incident's caused. I'm not certain yet how much I can provide at this time, but... Nonsense, Logan! Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Do you think the Lord of Coin would sit idly by and allow such heroism to go unrewarded? Objects are replaceable, but people are not, Logan. And these heroes sacrificed their newborn guild hall for the sake of these innocent individuals. These poor, hard-working guards, their pet servants, and the beloved matron, the beloved Jody. By Vanguard, my coffers are full and my influence widespread. Do not worry. The damages done to your precious little hall will be handled by the lion's share. I'm certain that, what was his name? Was it Lynch? Was it little Lord Lynch? Would be more happy to accept a banknote from, well, my own estate. as he just sort of shoves himself almost forcibly between you guys and Logan, as he's reaching out and like taking hands and shaking them, just sort of like catching your attention for a moment before snapping his eyes towards the surrounding, like it looks like the remains of the battle, as he looks like a kid in a candy store. It was amazing, man. You should have seen it. Men coming from all sorts of the corners, attacking, ready with arms drawn. But the guards of this town and the individuals who used to be part of your group, your friends, your allies, they were ready. Even adventurers in Oakwell had arms drawn, ready to fight for their town. It was lovely. It was like a war. It was like a war, Baldur. Do you remember? It was a war. It's been so long since we had a war.
One could say with good reason, Lord Arthur.
Oh, but the excitement, the entertainment!
Lord Arthur, would you like a personal tour of and walkthrough of the battle with inside the Guildhall walls?
Oh, is it strewn with the results of great battle?
Oh, indeed. The greatest of battles.
I would love to see it. Sorry to call it a sorry state before, I must assume. Battlefields are quite exciting. They tell so many stories.
Of
See,
course.
Baldur, I would advise accompanying him. This is a strange event that transpired here.
But of course, Baldur. Come, let the sharpened quill show you around.
Oh, the sharpened quill. Absolutely. Baldur, come. We're going to go investigate a battlefield. As he's going to be following you inside, Baldur, looking around inside the guild hall.
Go give him the
God.
tour so Samantha can talk to the other people.
This is
And I'll
gotta
butter
be the
him
best,
up.
This has got to be the best night of his life.
Give yourself some deep inspiration, Baldur.
I know how to butter up the noble.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm glad you did it, because I was
Speaking-
literally thinking of taking him on a tour and using Major Image to recreate the scene.
I knew you would, but then I was like, maybe you should be around all the other nobles.
Speaking of battle aftermath, may I have my armor back, Persephone? As Swithall stands there with ripped clothing.
Come on, girl, strip.
Yeah,
Of course,
strip in front of
Swithall
everyone.
was
So
holding the hand
Persephone
up.
just like put it
But
on her
Swithall-
on top of
Swithall,
her
like,
dress.
ended the
so-
battle. Like the closest Swithall came is like, I don't know, she was at like sub 20 or something to that
Ooh.
effect.
Got nasty
But yeah,
scars
like,
on
you know. Yeah. Swithall was like, just I got hit a lot. She's wearing like almost
Yeah.
rags.
It's Persephone holds it out to her.
Thanks for letting me borrow it.
No problem. And don't let Samantha get to you. If she does. The aunties.
Well, what do you... She doesn't really... I mean, we disagree on a lot of things, but I mean, it's just kind of the nature of the group. Do you think she gets into my head?
Swithall shrugs. I care about the group, or at least its overall health. So I'm part of it too, as she's just suiting up. As well as the image it represents, we can't have an unhealthy group. All plagued by, well, you plagued by bad thoughts. I need an hour to attune to it.
As you see Logan watching as this bounding, almost skipping as he walks, lion tail swirling behind him, and the knights sort of keeping up guard behind as he walks into the destroyed remnants of your guild hall, like a child frolicking into flowers. Logan turns to you, Samantha. I'm able to learn anything as to why.
I have theories, but Mordred was not very forthcoming on who he was working for directly, though I'll pass along what I have learned to the incantation. I'm sure they'll know more. It, strangely enough, had a connection to the dragon. A tenuous one, but a connection nonetheless. He wanted to absorb the members of the Valiant Vanguard into his little congregation.
But to what end, though? I mean, he took your whole. I assumed he had a vendetta against you, but sounds like he had greater plans.
He did. To sort of shift some of my attention, more of it towards Logan, some of my snakes sort of trying to watch his face and where he's looking, body language, etc., trying to get a feel for whether or not his interest is genuine. Samantha is sort of untrusting of basically everyone except for Luna and Jody right now.
He seems to be really concerned. First, he just seems sad and heartened, but now he's like mentioning working for someone else, having connection to the dragon. He seems interested through what looks to be just sheer confusion, as it seems like this is not what he expected.
Just able to pick that up just by looking at him. Well, he had some grand schemes towards, for lack of a better phrase, Logan, world domination and the eventual, I don't know, death of everything or something. He seemed to be sort of...
Insane.
Yes, that's the right word. I was going to go with mad, but yes, insane. Something, I think, otherworldly was whispering to him, driving him into delusions of grandeur and power, and making him make foolish choices. There were some attempts, Logan, as I sort of put a hand on his upper arm, out on his shoulder, trying to show genuine comfort, to end this non-violently, to have him surrender, state what it was he was facing, but he was just too far gone, my friend, and too committed to whatever cause he found himself compelled by. He was going to demand our surrender or take our heads. I staved it off as long as I could and instructed the Vanguard to take people alive as best as we could. In the end, though, we will need a few numerous graves. And I'm sorry for that.
Do you believe he could have? You said he was planning world domination. It's mad, but he overpowered the gods, it sounded, quite easily. He's quite strong for an adventurer. You think he could have attempted whatever plan he had? To what degree? What would give him the right to believe that?
He had in his possession a potent magical item, I guess. Something that we had encountered before, though much more dormant in its previous incarnation. Something that I'll be passing along to the incantation to get more information on. You can rest assured the Valiant Vanguard is fully committed to making sure that this problem does not reoccur and figure out who's behind it. I don't think it stops at him. But I don't think... I don't think Mordred Kane had it in him, to be completely frank. He was too short-sighted and too unwilling to compromise. Yeah. A tree in a storm has to learn how to bend, lest it snap, Logan. And he snapped.
Mad or not, what worries me as a man is driven by an idea, even if a crazy one, guided by what you claim to be possible forces, giving him the confidence to try something. It is inspiring in a way, the same way that I would hope to inspire young and dreaming adventurers to grow stronger, the same way it could draw someone who's driven down a dark path to do terrible things. But it takes potential. I would heavily request that you see to this matter with incantation as soon as possible. If this magic thing, you called it, gave him such confidence, it makes me worried. Something you've encountered before. Do you understand anything about it at all? I've heard people can use magic to read magic things. Do you know what it can do? Do you know what it could have done to this town? As he seems to starting to get, like, visibly worried as it's rubbing the back of his neck, his mind is sort of racing.
It's okay, Logan. I have neutralized it. It is not a threat to you or your people or this town. I can promise you that. It is quite good at destroying things, but you don't have to worry about it now.
Give me a persuasion roll.
Not with advantage. Yeah.
Winning!
You see him sort of close his eyes and move his hand away. I trust you, Samantha. I trust you, Valiant Vanguard. For the sake of this town, and for the sake of its people, please. You have to go in to seek the incantation. Make haste. Learn what you can. In the meantime, this place is safe.
Indeed it is. And speaking of trust, Logan, I will need you to trust me with one other thing.
Certainly.
Mordred is blessed by the gifts of the Serpent Empress at the moment. He is, well, turned to stone, Mr. Mayor.
Now, is that a
It is not a
analogy?
euphemism, no. He's literally
Right.
stone.
Right, magic.
Very powerful magic. I could not contain myself. I was hoping to use it on something quite insulting to my goddess, but this forced my hand. But I would hope that you would leave him in the custody of the Valiant Vanguard. He's quite heavy, nonetheless, anyway, but
I suppose we have no purpose here or jurisdiction over statues, so to the Vanguard he shall go.
oh, look at you.
Though I would suggest, if for whatever reason he finds himself no longer a statue, that you would turn him over to the Watchman's Post, provided he is properly incapacitated, considering his capabilities.
Definitely. There is, some methods I hope to try to gain some more information from him, even in that stony state.
Understandably so. Whatever we can gather would be great. The more we learn, the better and safer we'll be. And Samantha, Lord Arthur is quite generous, and I assure you, if his word is true, and it always has been, he will cover whatever damage has been done. But I'm sorry whatever may have happened to your dragon skull. I can only imagine the damage they would have done to it.
Is it missing?
Is it not on your guild hall?
It was not, from what I saw. I had been wondering about it. It was supposed to be on a wonderful little wagon delivered by a bunch of trusty dwarves. And it seems it has not been, or did you receive that delivery?
Well, it was received. The dwarves arrived. They were asking, a bit confused, exactly where they meant to deliver it. They were looking for you, but I pointed them towards the guild hall. They not arrived. They should still be in town somewhere. You might be able to seek them. I offered them to stay for the festivities, and, well, at the mention of alcohol, they gratefully accepted my offer.
As is typical. I will see if I can turn it up. Perhaps I haven't looked under the right rock.
At any rate, Valiant Vanguard, it is late. The hour is long, and we have been battling for quite some time. I would very much enjoy a more thorough debriefing of what transpired this night, as well as a complimentary means of repaying you a dinner that you did not attend. It was quite wonderful, despite the looming threat of death hanging over it all. I'd like to repay the favor and invite you over for a personal night with the remaining nobility who remains in the next few days, but for now, find your rest. You've definitely earned it.
Now go ahead, tell Lord Arthur about how you dug the hole in the ball.
I don't understand a single word he's saying, but I'm loving it. I'm
Nobody
absolutely
does.
loving it. As he's been walking around, he immediately caught sight of the twisted, mangled bodies on the ground, but sort of stepping around them with intrigue but less interest. I just looking around the whole place, just considerably excited, seeing where like holes have been put in the wall where fire had cut across the whole room. Seems like he's just walking around the whole place, like just spreading his arms out like he's in a wonderful land. Oh, I can
Let
feel
me
it.
show you. Let me show you the piece de la resistance, as I will show him Mordred Kane in stone form.
Oh, that is a very, very well-made statue. How did this make this in the middle of battle?
That is the battle. That is the leader of the Hell's Hydra.
Oh. Oh. That takes some considerable magic to pull something like that off. Impressive, Vanguard. Impressive.
Indeed. Samantha
Dragon
must have
slayers
learned
indeed.
very well from Tenzin.
Tenzin is quite, well, at times he's quite a considerable knowledgeable fellow. Other times he has much to learn. But I think if she is his apprentice, he's learning quite well, as he'll sort of tap him on the nose. Hello, Mordred. You had a hard fight today, didn't you? And now you lost.
Tell me, Lord Arthur, how is Hudson Webb doing?
Hudson Webb? Oh, you just missed him. He was at the dinner. He was actually wishing to speak with you, Quildor. Well, it seemed that he didn't quite have the time. I'm crossing paths, as it were, but don't be remain in town if you wish to have a conversation.
Wonderful.
As yeah, unless there's anything else to do, he'll be wandering around the whole place, getting a good feel, just sort of remarking at all the battle damage done before sort of skipping and hopping his way out. And unless there's anything else you guys want to do, there is a party going on, festivities for those who still have the energy to do so late into the night. It sounds like the elephants are getting tired. They're getting ready to retire them to the closest thing they have to a sizable barn, but the only thing they have is the open space next to Heartwood Sanctum. Otherwise, you guys have the night to yourselves, or otherwise to find rest and sort of contemplate on this. What was once supposed to be a great and glorious celebrated night, now sort of a bloodied and still victorious night.
You got this jello! I love it!
Oh my god.
And we had a bunch of old horses, and now we made gelatin.
I don't know. Where's Samantha heading off to after we part ways from the mayor?
After talking to the mayor, I turned right back around and headed into the guild hall to check on the kobolds and check on Jody.
Sure. Inside, the kobolds seem to be trying to do their best to pick things up, but most of them just seem tired. A couple of your guards seem that they're still a little bit battle damaged, sore, as they're just sort of sitting and tending to their wounds. One of them even trying to put on their armor. You can see Zasir sort of practicing some flashes of magic in his hand. As the moment you walk inside, he sort of puts his palms together. And Jody just seems to be in the back, sort of seated at one of the chairs. Not the one she was originally tied up in, but just sort of like contemplating, sort of nursing. It looks like a bottle of swallowtail wine. But the kobolds, once you approach, they sort of drag themselves, file into line. Master, we tried our best. We tried to fight them, but they were strong. Well, the kobolds are not strong enough. They turn and flee.
Sort of looking down at them, taking each of them in, seeing, what wounds they have, and they've tried to patch them up, and just seeing sort of the presumably beaten up state that they're in before kneeling down onto one knee in front of the line of kobolds and just reaching out to Zasir and just patting him on the shoulder. You all did your best. And you remembered the most important rule, that you all survive. Well done. Your training is only just beginning, so I did not expect you to succeed against such overwhelming odds. But I am proud of you for making sure you stayed alive. To lose one of you would have been far worse than losing the guild hall for an evening.
A reading book. I learned magic to survive. Watch, master. Watch. As he'll clap his hands together and sparks fly out of his sort of obsidian-clad palms, and as the sparks fly, they sort of catch him to his form and actually burn his skin, flesh, everything away until there's just nothing left.
He just dies.
He just stops being visible to me.
No, he's dead.
Ah! I am here, but you cannot see me.
Marvelous. As I sort of just reach out to where I think he should be and just sort of pop him on the top of the head.
You cannot see me. But yes, it does actually look like he fucking dies.
Oh god.
It literally looks like he burns himself away, as a kobold would.
Oh, that is a interesting way of calling on that incantation. Well done, Cecilia. Oh, well done, all of you. Sort of standing up now. And I'm sure you're all quite tired after this evening, so I want you all to go ahead and get some rest, sleep well, and eat heartily tomorrow. There's work to be done.
Thank you, Master. Thank you for saving us.
Always, and make sure to always save each other.
As you'll see, like immediately, Sister comes back. I will save you! As he reaches out and grabs onto what looks to be like throwing a ball, and immediately goes, ah! Fire all over his body, turns invisible.
Now you cannot be seen.
Oh, do not tire yourself out playing with your magic. Sort of
Yeah,
walking,
with that, kobolds start to scatter.
walking past them, down towards the end of the table, hearing some of my snakes turning around, seeing Persephone's bush self bounding up after her. Turning around. Yes, Persephone.
I was hoping we could talk about what happened earlier.
What, the statue?
No. I thought after the centaurs, we really started to get our stride as a group. It was like we were on the same team. We went to help Luna find her parents and deal with Eric Elner. We helped Marjorie. We fought a dragon, but I guess when it comes to high pressure situations, we just fall apart.
Fall apart? It seemed like we cleaved, or came together quite successfully, wouldn't you say? Sort of gesturing towards the now rescued Guildhall.
You're welcome.
No hostages dead, Judy saved, all of us alive and well, thankfully.
Why did you say that about Paracelsus? I never bring up any of your past mistakes.
Mistakes? What do you know of my past, little girl?
Everything I know of you, just like what you know of me. I don't hold it against you that one of the most shocking things I learned about you first thing is that you were willing to whip a restrained hostage to death. That's torture. And that was horrifying, and none of us could talk you out of it. I never bring that up. I don't try to use it against you. I just try to hope that you've become better. And what happened to Paracelsus affected all of us, but you bringing it up, I understand you were stressed out and you were worried about us. I felt the same exact way, but that was just hurtful. I wasn't hopeful, and friends don't do that to each other.
Thankfully, everything worked out. But I was genuinely worried that it wouldn't. I hurt your feelings, didn't I?
I had visited his tomb shortly before coming back for the festival, so I guess the memories were still raw.
Well, I cannot promise that I will not say hurtful things to you in the future. If that is what you're looking for, Persephone.
I'm looking for an apology, Samantha.
Will you apologize
After
for risking
everything-
your life?
You really don't get it? It's great that it all worked out. That's fine. The centaurs also worked out. But do you know what sucks despite everything working out? It sucks fighting with your friends. It sucks insulting them and feeling like they don't trust you. It doesn't matter if we succeed, if the way that we get there is through arguing and taking small quips at each other and tearing each other down. I had hoped that we had grown out of that, but this situation showed that maybe we didn't. Maybe we were just lucky that we didn't have anything that really challenged us. And as we get stronger and as our reputation grows, we're going to face this more and more. Mordred certainly isn't the last enemy we've made. And if we're going to fight every time that happens, what really becomes of us and what worth is really winning?
We're going to disagree on things until the end of time. We're not the same person. But if you want me to run every single thing that I think I need to say to you to keep you and the rest of us alive through, I don't know, a fountain of sugar first, I'll consider it.
That's not what I'm saying. Don't treat me like a child.
Stop acting like one. You normally don't. I've stood up for you in the past, Persephone. I've said what I truly thought of you, if you recall. Normally, you are a dependable source of wisdom. More than belies your years, that's for sure. But it seems like you were too concerned with people that don't fucking matter instead of the people that do. What happens if we're pressed up against the wall and you're not there to save us, Persephone? I'm not asking Sune for any gifts anytime soon, and we don't have anyone else that can. So if we can't depend on your little fairies to come nurse our boo-boos back together, what happens then? You're the only person, if I remember reading that scroll correctly, that can cast that magic that can bring someone back to life. What happens if you die, Persephone? It all falls apart without you. I'm sorry that I hurt you. Is that what you wanted to hear? Does that make you feel better? Because nothing would make me feel better if you were fucking dead. Nothing.
Persephone just gives Samantha a big hug.
You'd feel her just like rigid up as you hug onto her.
As the knife slides into your gut.
Friendship knife.
You sort of open your eyes and you look and see, like next to you, just a single one of her serpents. Damn it, Cody. Now, go be a flower girl or something somewhere. Trying to pry you off of me.
No, she clings harder.
Are you wearing the belt? Oh god!
I can't detonate my body if I let you go. Hold still!
I appreciate your concern, and I need to be there for my friends too. I didn't want to die. That's not my goal. But I also have ways of getting out of trouble now, ways that I haven't had before. So if I'm volunteering to go somewhere without my armor in one of the most foolish possible plans, I want you to trust me that I at least out of it. I'm not a fool. Just like I trust you to have plans, and just like I trust you to be the level-headed member of the group and think logically to a fault, even. I need you to trust me and my magic capabilities, not just to keep everybody from falling, but also to protect myself when I need to.
See her just sort
God,
of looking.
you two need therapy. I just want you guys to know that.
First, Samantha was just looking towards the door, looking over you, because I think you're like a couple inches shorter than me.
I'm 5 foot.
Okay, so I have like 7 inches plus some boot heels. And then as Luna says that, my head just sort of whips over and all of my snakes look at her. Are we entertaining you, Luna?
Oh, don't let me interrupt. Keep going. Maybe some more yelling will, make this night worthwhile.
No, you don't. No yelling. Still on the tour.
He's still here?
It was quite an expansive battle. Will you let go of me already?
You did this hole all by yourself. Well done, little kobold.
You're going to give someone the wrong
Upstairs,
idea.
my God, there's so many bodies upstairs.
Upstairs is perfectly clean. I will hear
There's
nothing of it.
hundreds of dead up here. How did they
We're
get so many
cooking
dead bodies
outside.
up
The
there?
barbecue smells wonderful.
If you're right about Mordred sleeping, I know you want information, and that's fine. That makes sense. We might as well get it where he has nowhere to go but his own thoughts and in the dream world. Is there anything you want me to ask him? I was going to see if I could visit him tonight.
I'm sure he's in quite a bit of pain. I would... Trying to wriggle out of you.
Oh, I let you go.
Good. So you just like shake uncomfortably. I would step lightly, Persephone. I do not want him to be aware of what is happening to him. You can't just appear all pleasantly in front of him. The sooner we get the information, the sooner we can pass it along to the incantation, and the sooner they can act on it. If you present yourself as yourself, then he may clam up for, let's say, a month, and that could be far too long. Before you finally get him to crack under that shrill voice of yours.
Yeah, so that means my original plan wasn't going to work. Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Yes.
I'll see what I can do.
Try your best to make him feel at home, like he can talk. Be a friendly face, but not your face. You know, deceive him. I'm sure you can manage. Do your best.
I was just going to make it comfortable for him. He's going to be there for a while.
That he will be.
Persephone turns and starts to head out of the guild hall, and then gives Luna a big hug before I go.
Everyone gets hugs.
Yes. Goodbye, little bush.
Good
Little
push.
Bush? Are we doing nicknames now? I gave Sotalo a nickname and she was kind of weirded out by that. Are we doing nicknames now?
Depends on how good the nickname is.
When isn't Sotalo weirded out by something we do?
Okay. So Persephone skips off and heads back to the fallen horse.
Samantha, do you think you can keep that thing under control for 10 minutes so I can learn what it is?
What, Persephone? That's impossible.
Just no learning what she is, but I mean the orb.
Oh, for 10 minutes. If I let it out, it might hopefully still be stable. Here. As she sort of walks around the table, as I sort of imagined you on the other side, and pulls out the Enigma orb, entering in the combination for it, rearranging the pieces, but just holding it closed before opening it up. See if you can just hold it underneath, and if it starts acting up, just try to close it. I don't know if I can hold it in place. I'm not going to beckon it or anything. Just do your best and stay safe.
Aren't I always safe?
Sort of pokes you in your now repaired arm. No, you're not.
It was a joke.
As Luna, you're sort of holding this shell around this thing, trying to begin your magic. We would come to one sudden realization that makes this process quite difficult. The use of magic, especially the spell to identify the properties of any object or item composed of or infused with magic, requires you to touch it throughout the full duration. And you know from firsthand experience that touching this thing is, well, it's quite dangerous.
Touch it. Fondle it.
Is it
Become the orb.
possible to identify if I control it?
You can try to touch it if you control it.
Do it.
Yeah, because
Touch
Mordred
it.
had it in his eye, right?
Certainly did.
Look, it's not like the one that was in the Shadowfell. When it passed through people, it didn't rip off their arms. So if you try to just stabilize it while I can identify it, maybe it'll work. But if it doesn't work, I mean, I'll probably just take a chunk off my finger off. Which sucks, but it's healable.
I do want to know what this thing actually is, as Samantha's low wisdom and her infinite curiosity gets the better of her, as she will try to work with Luna to try to control it and keep it from eating her hand.
All right.
Luna loses an arm part too.
Okay,
As
hold on here.
I'm
Let me
going to
just-
need, it seems like
just
right now
need
this
this new
object is
character
currently
guide.
stable. I'm going to need an Arcana check as you're going to try and impose the same sort of mental focus and understanding of whatever forces are keeping this thing as it is to try and just with your willpower, I guess, in this sense, just stay stable, don't rip, don't tear, don't destroy.
As I'm going to use that handy dandy demon's fucking inspiration.
Isa good.
Give myself some advantage. Don't rip off Luna's hand, don't rip off Luna's hand, don't rip off Luna's hand.
As your focus sounds like you feel the magic sort of swirling, contained, it's staying still. And as Luna, as you go to reach out and touch this thing, you see it actually move away from you, right towards you, Samantha. Give me a dex save.
Well,
Oh, son of a...
As immediately this thing goes a surprisingly quick speed, as immediately you're able to pull yourself out of the way at the last second, as this thing pulls against your shoulder and drags through your armor as you take 12 force damage, as it stops behind you in the air.
Okay, that really fucking hurts. Can we let the incantation handle it? I don't want to die to a fucking orb.
All right, as I don't know how your thing works. Can you control it to put it back in there?
I'm going to fucking try, as I try to seal it back in the Pokeball.
How are you sealing it back in the Pokeball? Pick up the Pokeball and put it around it?
I am going to hold the Pokeball in my hands and just like get as still as possible, like a snake. All of my focus on it, all of my attention on it, and just wait, and then leap at it.
Okay. Sort of focusing, waiting to see this thing stay still so perfectly, and then now you jump, the thing still remains perfectly still as you snap it around and shut it. The thing, all the pieces snapping and forming to a perfect sphere around it. You pull it away cautiously, moving all of your hands away from the spot of impact, and oh, it's sealed.
There's a hole in my clothes. Yes. Yeah, no, not doing that. Sorry.
Is there anything
Hi,
else you want to
Chippy.
see, Lord Arthur?
I think I've seen quite a bit, unless there was a battle upstairs. I'd love to go see
No.
the second floor. Oh,
I mean, there's
What a
no
shame.
battle up there,
oh, what a shame.
unfortunately.
No one's allowed up there.
Well, in that
yeah,
case,
the rest of the competitors in the season. I went upstairs. There were hundreds of people, and I slew them one by one. That's don't worry though.
So should we go check upstairs? That sounds quite exciting.
He's lying to you.
Up to old games, Tamar. You guys have quite outgrown them, have you?
No, I'm telling the crowd outside the story of the battle.
Oh, I thought you were in there. As he's just gonna be up, but there's nothing else to see. I shall step my way out of here and go rejoin the party. The night is still young. It's only, what, 2 in the morning now by the light of the moon? Still much more celebration to be had. Come, Balder. Yes, no bold ship. As he just looks exhausted.
Poor Boulder.
As you guys go out, listen to Tamar Khan's having a good time with the crowd. Enjoying himself. Anything you're particularly wanting to do, or are you just hanging out enjoying yourself?
Hanging out.
Okay, nice. What about you, Swift Hollow? What are you doing during all this?
Let's see. As Persephone turns around to head into the guild hall. Yeah, Swift Hollow just heads home.
Okay, just heading back to your little hovel.
Yep. Oh, where
Good
Gizmo
stuff.
is, making sure that he's alright.
Yep, the night seems to become calmer again later in the night. Exhaustion starting to weigh on some of you. I guess some of you who require real sleep. As you guys press on through the night, Samantha sort of enjoying yourself in the depths of the guild hall. Jody, sort of nursing a bottle, gets up and sort of announces, I'm going to try and get some sleep tonight. This place might feel more homely once, well, cleanup has begun. I suppose I'll see you in the morning, Samantha.
Yes, definitely a lot to deal with.
Yeah, she'll walk by, sort of like place a hand on your shoulder as she walks and heads out the door. Even behind, really just you, Luna. Gotten quite soft, haven't you, Samantha?
Is that what she says to me?
Look around. You don't see anyone.
Bum, bum, bum.
Is that what you're calling yourself now? It is, isn't it? You've quite grown on it, hasn't you? Such a clever girl.
What? Luna,
Around.
do you hear that?
That's who hear what?
I thought you were in on it, you son of a bitch. The voice. And sort of, you see like my snakes just sort of fan out in every direction, like almost kind of like a weird sort of dome, like she's looking everywhere at once. And you see like a shimmer of a glow through all of them.
Yes, a beehive of snakes.
Calling on some of her divine sight, trying to perceive any sort of shift or movement, anything sort of being jostled. Is there someone here invisible?
You're trying to find something that has no face. Clever, but not that clever. You'll find me soon. After all, I believe I have what you want. Oh, don't sigh like that. I'm not an enemy. Far from it, actually. But you can find me. I wanted to say where I am. You're quite clever. You've proven it before. Clever, clever girl. As you hear the soft little flutter sound, almost sounds like it comes from like the back of your head, and there's like soft sort of hiss from it. But after that, the sound just sort of escapes, and you're left with the quiet night in the guild hall, still destroyed, but now the battle has ended. The festivities continue on will continue on for the remaining few days before all things come to an end. And it seems like the Valiant Vanguard now has themselves a task at hand. Something...
Actually...
something you want to do?
Yeah, Swift Hollow will, after she gets home, checks on Gizmo, Okay, he wasn't taken, you're fine, go home safe. Okay.
Oh, yeah, he's been hobbled up in his room. He got out in public too long. He didn't like it.
Yeah, Swift Hollow taking down, I guess, a relatively great power. She will find a place of seclusion and in darkness, and taking her black quill, will prick her finger and open the book to the next page, where she wrote with her blood. See if anything comes to her.
All right. Put your blood on the page. Begins to spill across the surface, and then it just simply spills down a small trickle before it dries. Nothing seems to happen.
And she just closes it.
Yeah.
And then
Seems as if
trances.
that was not your task. Yes,
Nothing
Persephone.
yet.
I am actually going to dream Mordred.
Sure, that's fine.
Because I have the magic.
As you're
Do
within
it.
your confines, using your magic, still having the magic within you, and always having it prepared, you, a druid of the dream path, would find your magic and send yourself off into the mind of Mordred Kane.
Yes.
All right. As quite almost instantly, you'd find yourself ushered away from your body and, strangely enough, into just cold pitch blackness. At the center of which, as you sort of enter your consciousness into this dreamscape, you would find at the center of it all this sort of huddled, almost like fetal in a way, sitting upon a ground that doesn't exist, devoid of armor, clothing, long black hair, pale skin, even missing the last covering he had of his wounded eye. A man sort of just sitting in the middle of darkness, huddled, staring off into space, almost unmoving like a statue.
Persephone is going to do the opposite of what she told Samantha she was going to do and show herself to Mordred and just quietly approach him.
Mordred?
He just sort of sits up and looks at you. Sort of puts his hands on the ground sort of weakly. Pulls himself off his feet. Looks you straight in the eyes. And immediately puts a hand out to grab onto you.
Can I tell where he's trying to
Going
grab?
straight for your face. Just a hand coming straight towards you.
You know what? I've let strangers touch my face before. It worked out well.
Oh boy.
All right. As his hand reaches out, you just let him grab you at your face.
Mm-hmm. I just
All
want
right.
to see what he's going to do.
All right. As the hand goes towards your face, you can see suddenly as it presses against you, there's this sort of cold sensation that runs along your hand and into your body as you feel your non-real, sort of projected dream form being infused with a sudden and powerful surge of cold necrotic energy. As you can feel it, your flesh is already beginning to tear and rip away, decaying in what looks to be like old dust, as he's just trying to use this magic. Tear away! Tear away! As he's just trying to destroy you.
This person is going to immediately pull herself out of his hold.
You can
Yeah.
either sit here in darkness for eternity, or you can let me give you something you want to see. Is this the world you want to live in right now?
Yes. This is my dream. This is the sovereign's dream. Destruction. Pure destruction. Nothing left behind but dust to be reformed. As he's going to try and reach out again, trying to lunge for you, just trying to grab and destroy whatever tries to touch you, but easily able to pull yourself away. If not pulling yourself, pulling the world around him away from you.
No.
This person is going to let herself fly up into the air, guided by her little pixie wings. And with my dream magic, I'm going to reform the world into the nicest scene Persephone can think of, which is a beautiful meadow surrounded by trees, peaceful forest.
As beautiful forest seems to explode into existence around you, the sounds of gentle nature taking over and filling the air, as immediately he sort of turns to and fro, watching nature rise around him and sort of like lash out at it, trying to reach out and put his hand on the tree and destroy it, but it seems like his whatever he had control of is now stripped away as the tree remains standing, not tearing away, not becoming necrotic or I guess necrose or fatigued, just seemingly standing up against his pushing hand. No. Just punching and striking into it, just trying to break this thing that's being created around him. Ah!
I wasn't lying when I said I kind of empathized with you and how you felt. I know that might be hard to believe, considering the situation you're in now. But I'm not really good at lying. So all I had was the truth. I know the feeling of being powerless, about wanting to do something beyond yourself, and I know the feeling of people looking down on you like you wouldn't even be worth it. I don't know how long you've let those thoughts swim around in your head. It seems even now, with that kind of power, you still almost believe in it. Like, you can't be something without that which gave you what you believe you were missing. I'm not going to let you wallow in your despair, Mordred. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to give you a world of your own. I'm here to be a friend.
I just see him like still clawing at this tree while you're speaking. Every once in a while, just sort of like shooting his head in your direction before turning back to his basically his onslaught. Before, as your words continue on, he starts ripping and tearing bark, seeing it's just remaining as a tree, and in his form, he's just powerless. He just sort of like slumps against it, and after some heavy breathing, turns back to face you. I will not let you decide my world. You do not have that place. You do not have that honor. You do not own my oath. The Sovereign does. This is wrong. This is not his world. I will tear it down piece by piece, even if I must do it with my bare hands.
You want the empty abyss?
I want what my Sovereign wants.
No! What do you want, Mordred? You don't answer to the Sovereign anymore. You don't have to. For once, you have probably all the time in the world. You can decide what you want and what matters most to you, and you don't need to come up with it immediately. I know that will take time. But in this moment, what do you want?
I want to tear down this forest and tear you to pieces. Break out of this place. This place. Where am I? Where am I? What did you bring me? Where was I before? I was fighting you. He starts to look around. You see, like, sort of the gear starting to turn into sort of once a dreaming head as he starts to look around. And it almost like looks like realization's coming to him. Wherever you put me, I will get out. And I will find you all. And I will take what power, what remains in me, and I will destroy you. Destruction, annihilation is inevitable. There won't be a song of rapture. It will be glorious.
Wait, a song?
As he
You've
will
heard the
immediately
song?
just start kicking off the ground and running towards you again. Just pushing past trees and brush, hands reaching out towards you.
Persephone flies up into the air above him.
You've heard the song!
I will in time. My Sovereign speaks it. It is inevitable. It will be great and grand. It will usher in the end. The whole world will hear it, and they will sing along.
And the veil will come apart in a rapturous shattering. Okay. Well, I asked what you wanted, and you told me. So,
As Persephone is going to... I'm going to give him powers in Dream World!
Okay.
to destroy the world around him in Dream World.
All right.
And I'm
What does
gonna
that
leave.
look like?
I'm
Just conjure up a
and
big
I'm also
TV in GTA. And
Yeah,
let him have
Just
it.
give him his
So-
clothes back, his armor, his weapons.
yeah. This Persephone's just going to pluck flowers out from her hand and just rub them between her palms and blow them out before her as this little fey magic energy starts to swirl around Mordred, clothing him back in his armor and in his weapons, and another figure within his reach, one that looks like Persephone.
Yeah. With all of his arms brought back, and he can sort of clench his hands, and you see like these like tendrils of black lines running up along his armor. He smiles and looks up across the ground, sees this representation of yourself on the ground, sort of holding out his hand. That magic forms itself into a long spiral that fills his palm until it becomes a spear. He just reaches back and just chucks it and watches as it tries to spear through this embodiment of yourself as it seems to wither and decay.
Sweet dreams, Mordred.
As I fade out.
As you leave him, you can see trees being speared and struck as branches begin to wither, leaves begin to fall and disintegrate. As you can just hear this chorus of maddened laughter and clashing steel and crackling of breaking and decaying life. As you leave him in sort of this orchestra, this own song of sorts of just madness and destruction as you pull away from his dream. Ooh.
And I lay in my bed of growing dream flowers around me, just stare at the ceiling.
Okay. Let him get it out of his system, and then we can try to reach him. Right. I don't think this is what Elderself meant when he said bring in pleasant dreams, but if it works, it works.
As
give
she
yourself some
gets
deep
ready for
inspiration.
bed. Hey.
As with that, going once, going twice.
Did I recognize that voice?
You did. Strangely enough. A voice not truly familiar, not acquaint, more so a familiar sound, the laughter, the words clever. A voice that broke itself through parchment in the past when you, I guess one might say accomplished, others might say committed a deed in which you brought forth information about your past within the White Sea. A tale told by magic infused into letters sent home sent to you. And followed by one of them, a letter that you did not recognize that seemed to explode outwards in a chorus of laughter and praise of a voice that you and neither Jody, who witnessed it, were able to recognize. This voice now resounds in your ear, almost like within the coils of your own winding hair, and goads you as if speaking just next to you, unseen, its presence undetected, but excited to meet you. As that is where we will end tonight, the 100th episode of Song of Rapture. A very RP heavy filled one with lots of emotion, accomplishments, and apparently through the end of it all, it looks like the group has gathered themselves some magical treasures that Luna has been identifying. Though who exactly will receive them, where they'll go, what they'll do with them, we'll figure out next time, as the Valiant Vanguard has been given both a responsibility and a task. They find themselves in possession of a dangerous object and have been given a direction to go take it to these wizards known as the Incantation down in the south of Cradle Keep to have it properly identified, as it seems like their current ability to do so is hindered by this thing's destructive nature. What exactly they'll do next session? Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I call upon my godly powers, drop into the dream realm, and open my black book as I spell out the name in blood.
There you go. Tamar Khan has a drunk dream.
Wow, that's really weird.
Oh my god, passes out in a dish somewhere.
Tamar Khan thinks his name is Light now. He has a vivid scene of him eating potato chips and scribbling in a book.
That's all I got, baby. Role play.
Hell yeah!
Indeed, indeed. That was quite the interesting session, I think. And I'm looking forward to coming back for episode 101 as we have
God, I hope there's Dalmatians.
they're probably well, Mitty has to have puppies at this point. There's he's been a busy bee as well.
So many babies.
Hey,
So many babies in the Clyde Barga household.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's having children over there. So I hope you all have enjoyed hanging out with us tonight. Hope you enjoyed the role play and the building story. I hope you enjoyed the first time, I think, ever that someone has actually said the title of the show in
I've said it a few times.
Yeah, that's what
I don't think literally though. I think it's been like Rapture song and etc. etc. Never actually just.
It's been
song
some
of
little hints
Rapture.
here and there.
Yeah, it's been dropped. It's been alluded to, but never just song of. Oh my goodness, I am super excited. I can't wait to see what late's in store for us and where we're gonna get to next. Probably heading out west, but we'll see as we hash things out the next day and distribute magic items and see how badly Tamarkon's hangover is. All that fun stuff and more.
No, he doesn't have hangovers.
Presumably next week on Song of Rapture, next Thursday. All right,
Yes,
coming
ma'am.
right on back. For more D&D, and there is always more D&D to be had, just coming off the heels of a very tense and dark moment for our wonderful Doomed One cleric, Nyx, this past Sunday. Now we're returning this Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern, for more Heroes of Thylea, finding out what is actually going on in the real world, and what waits in store for the Oracle's Chosen. What is behind the storm over Mitros, and will the heroes be able to stop it? It'll be interesting. Then, after that, this upcoming Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, we should be returning for more of the Apex Alliance and Kingdoms of the South as they are wrestling with some demons, some devils, some hellfire and brimstone.
Oh, hell.
As one of their own, Katie has slipped into the devil's camp, welcomed with somewhat open arms and handed the shit shovel to get to work, as she is busy keeping an eye on them and trying to deceive them. It seems so far successfully, as the rest of the Apex Alliance are hot on her heels, tracking her and her so-called allies back to their home base, hoping to put a stop to them and maybe even usher in their actual leader and put a stop to him as well. Will that work out for them, or will they end up also shoveling shit? You'll have to tune in this Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern to find out what happens to the Apex Alliance. I'm so looking forward to all of our games. There's so much budding excitement. Never a dull moment in any of our games. So I hope to see you there for those. I hope that you join us in the Discord to discuss our games, yours, talk about the game at large, build up hype for Tasha's as it gets closer and closer. Maybe also discuss Baldur's Gate 3. Some interesting developments there as well. So I hope... Stop. I hope you enjoy. I hope you join us. Oh my god, so you can enjoy this.
God damn it.
You don't want to miss out on it. It's just wonderful. So with that, I want to give a big thanks and shout out to Roll20 for sponsoring Song of Rapture and for making Lionhead Gaming all the better on Tuesdays and Thursdays with both of those games. And I want to thank you all so much for watching. We're going to go ahead and try to see if... it looks like Dice Tyrants are on, so we're going to go ahead and host them, share the love with another member of the Storytellers Union. And as always, your dice roll 20s, and you always make your saves.
Later, y'all.
Toodles.
Bye.
Oh, sure.